वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 1, verse 43 to 48. Verse 43. Mrigu Mrigukhatyam Mahabhaga Patnyayam Putrun Ajitanat Dhatharam Cha Vidhataram Sriyam Cha Bhagavat Param. Synonyms: Bhrigu, the great sage Bhrigu, Kayatyam, in his wife Kayati, Mahabhaga, greatly fortunate, Patnyam, unto the wife, Putran, sons, Agninath, gave birth, Dataram, Data, Cha, also, Vidataram, Vidata, Sriyam, a daughter named Sri, Cha, Bhagavat Param, and a great devotee of the Lord. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate in his wife, known as Kayati. He begat two sons named Data and Vidata, and one daughter named Sri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 44. Ayatim niyatim chaiva sute merutastayor adat tabyam tayor abhavatam murkunda prana evacha. Synonyms: Ayatim, Ayati, Niyatim, Niyati, Cha Eva, also, Sute, daughters, Meru, the sage Meru, Thayo, unto those two, Adat, gave in marriage, Tabhyam, out of them, Tayo, both of them, Abhavatam, appeared, Murkunda, Prana, Eva, certainly, Cha, and. Translation: The sage Meru had two daughters named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charge to Data and Vidata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Murkunda and Prana. It's 45. Murkundeyo Murkundasya Pranad Veda Shiramuni Kavischa Bhargavo Yasya Bhagavan Usana Sutta. Murkundeya, Mrukundasya of Mrukunda, Prana from Prana, Vedasira, Muni, great sage, Kavicha of the name Kavi, Bhargava of the name Bhargava, Yasya, whose Bhagavan, greatly powerful, Usana, Sukracharya, Sutta, son. Translation: From Murkunda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedasira, whose son was Usana, Sukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus, Kavi also belonged to the descendants of Bhrigu dynasty. Verse 46 and 47. Tayete Munayo Shatar Lokan Sargir Abhavayam Isha Kardama Dohitra Santanas Kati Tastava Shunvata Shraddhadanasya Sadhya Papa Harapara Prasutim Manavim Daksha Upa Emehi Ajatmaja. Synonyms: they, ete, all, Munaya, great sages, Kshata, O Vidura, Lokan, the three worlds, Sarge, with their descendants, Abhavayan, filled, Esa, this Kardama of the of the sage Kardama, Dauhitra, grandsons, Santana, offspring, Katita, already spoken, Tava, unto you, Shinvata, hearing, Shraddha, Nasya, of the faithful, Sadhya, immediately, Papahara, reducing all sinful activities, Para, great, Prasuti, Manavim, daughter of Manu, Daksha, King Daksha, Upayeme married he certainly Aja Atmaja, son of Brahma. My dear Vidura, translation, my dear Viduna, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be revealed from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Verse 48. Tasyam sasarja duhitra soda samala lochana त्रयोदासदधर्माय Tataikam Agnaye Vibhu. Synonyms: Tasyam, unto her, Sasarja created, Duhitra daughters, Sodasa 16, Amala Lochana with lotus like eyes, Trayodasa 13, Adat gave Dharmasya to Dharma, Tata so Ekam one daughter, Agnaye to Agni, Vibhu Daksha. Translation: Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus like eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma and one daughter was given to Agni. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते रोमपादस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा 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 हरे हरे. I humbly bow down and seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas on this call. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself, and please forgive me for any shortcomings or my own interpretations. I will be summarizing verses 43 to 48. So, as we are seeing continuation to creation starting from Brahma and the Brahma sons Manus, and like that expansion, and Manu got responsibility to increase his own Vamsh. So all the way in the right now in this current section 43 to 48, uh, it came to the Brigu. Brigu was fortunate that his wife he begat two sons, Data and Vidata, and one daughter named Sri. And after that, uh, who he gave in charity to the Ayati and Meru has two daughters. The next one, Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Data and Vidata. And again, Ayati and Niyati gave birth to two sons, Mukunda and Prana. So in that, the expansion is increasing. So here, the whole discussion is that how you expanded. I mean, like the process, and also in the previous verses we have seen that the begetting they are begetting for the pleasure of personality of Godhead, which is very important in this expansion. And in the next 46 to 47 verse also, I think conversion between Maitra and Vidura, it states that those who are hearing about these names, pastimes, births, about like technical the pure devotee family, those hearts are also gets cleansed by hearing about that such a great families, transcendental families. The sins gets eradicated because these are pure devotees. And we know that in our schooling also we have learned different stories, like especially in our social studies like Akbar Birbal studies, etc., their pastime, I mean like their what they did, etc. But those type of stories will not bring any purification or to our heart. At certain point it will bring frustration. Why we need to ready, why we need to study all this stuff. But when coming to Bhagavatam, these things is not like that. Every day it brings a lot of purification. And by reading about these families, our faith also increases, which is very, very important in our devotional service, because they have invested a lot of time and energy on devotional service. So from that, we are getting a lot of purification. And when we perform our duties, our devotional service with respect to our own dharma, automatically whatever we need, we will get all the things. We no need to we no need to run behind anything. So that is the essence of for the devotional service, importance of the devotional service also. So, as we all know from previous canto, Bhagavatam, third canto, Brahma created four sages, and also Brahma created the principles of nescience as a matter of necessity for those living entities who were destined to ignorance by the will of the Lord. He was not satisfied in performing such thankless tasks. He therefore created four principles of knowledge: one Sankhya, two Yoga, three Vairagya, and that is acceptance of complete detachment from material enjoyment in life to elevate oneself to the highest spiritual understanding. Four Tapasya, various kinds of voluntary austerities performed for spiritual perfection. From these, we can conclude that for without devotional service to the personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve success in any activity of spiritual value. So, in application to this, first we also need to understand that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.37, Yattad agre visham eva pariname mrutopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Translation: that which is the beginning may be just like a poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self realization is said to be in the happiness of mode of goodness. So, in pursuant to self realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and senses and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison, but if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys a life a lot. So, when coming to the application part of sex life for begetting children, the way they are expanded in this verses 43 to 40, I mean, the previous and current verses, and the basic principle we need to understand that from the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, sixth chapter, eighth verse, Apam Viryasya Sargasya Parjanasya Prajapate Pumsashishna Upastastu Prajati Ananda Nivritte. Translation: from the Lord's genitals originate water, semen, generatives, rains, and the procreations. His genitals are the cause of a pleasure that counteracts the distress of begetting. So when we understand this fundamental principle, so we will not misuse the sex life, but for begetting the Krishna conscious kids. Therefore, sex life in the material world should not be encouraged beyond the necessity. There is a necessity for generating progeny even in the material world, but such generation of children must be carried out with full responsibility for spiritual values. The spiritual values of life can be realized in the human form of material existence, and the human being must adopt family planning with reference to the context of spiritual values and not otherwise. So when we understand this principle and we need to depend on Krishna, that's what in Bhagavad Gita 7.11 it says, balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhutesu kamasmi bharatar shaba. Translation: I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of Bharatas, Arjuna. So in this context, we need to depend on Krishna. We need to be depend. We need to beg for the mercy to beget the nice children, for Krishna conscious children. That is nothing but the strong man's strength should be applied to protect the weak, not for personal aggression. Similarly, sex life, according to religious principles, dharma should be for the propagation of children, not otherwise. The responsibility of parents is then to make their offspring Krishna consciousness. So, in this context, the way they expanded the family is such a pure, I mean, like transcendental activities. That is not easy. So, in according to that, when we apply these principles in our life, that brings a lot of purification in our devotional service, and also it also benefits the upcoming generation. And also in Bhagavatam 2:620, Padastrayo Bahis Chasan Aprajanam ya Ashrama Antastri Lokastu Aparo Medo Bruhat Vrata. Translation: the spiritual world, which consists of three-fourths of the Lord's energy, is situated beyond this material world, and it is especially meant for those who will never reborn. Others who are attached to family life and who do not strictly follow celibacy vows must live within the three material worlds. So the finally the climax of the system of Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatana Dharma is clearly expressed here in this particular verse of Bhagavatam. The highest benefit that can be awarded to a human being is to train him to be detached from sex life, particularly because it is only due to sex indulgence that the conditioned life of mental existence continues birth after birth. Human civilization in which there is no control of sex life is a fourth class civilization because in such an atmosphere there is no liberation of the soul engaged in the material body. Birth, death, old age, and disease are related to the material body and they have nothing to do with the spirit soul. But as long as the bodily attachment for sensual enjoyment is encouraged, the individual spirit soul is forced to continue the repetition of birth and death on account of the material body, which is compared to garments subjected to the law of deterioration. So in this context, so finally the application is that we need to beget as per the samskara prescribed by the scriptures, though it will benefit our life, upcoming life. Devotional service also improves. So for the purification of ourselves, we are doing all these activities. So from this, I will conclude my summary. Once again, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to speak something about my purification.